Should the government determine whether ethanol makes economic sense, or should the free market make that determination?
Ultimately, it'll be the free market. But I think, like the governor says, I think that we're in a situation now where we've got to use everything that's available to us. I think renewables and alternatives are a part of that picture. I don't look for it to last forever. When the industry gets up and running and on its feet again, I don't see the need for what we're doing now. But you have to look at the bigger picture. Most economic downturns over the last 25 years have been preceded by a spike in oil prices. There's probably plenty of oil out there for the indefinite future, but price is an issue. And that brings in the whole question of the importance of stability in the world. The United States, since the end of World War II, has been a force for stability and democracy, which helps bring about stability for a long, long time. Our policies with regard to places like the Middle East and Iraq right now are very important with regard to the very issue we're talking about, because instability and crises in the wrong parts of the world are going to cause dramatic results in the upward movement of oil prices, and that could be devastating to our economy. I think we need to tell the American people the truth. Congress's approval rating now is about 11%. I don't think anybody believes anything coming out of Washington anymore. I think we need to tell them the truth, that our security is on the line, that our economy is on the line, that our prosperity is on the line. We're going to have to do some things differently. We're probably going to have to spend more than 4% of our budget, as we're spending right now, on our military. We're bankrupting the next generation and those yet to be born. Those are truthful things that the American people, I think, have an intuition about. We need to own up to it. It's not all gloom and doom. We want to live in a world, in a country that's free, with free markets. People accept responsibility. People who play by the rules and work hard can expect to live the American dream. If they need help in this country, they get help, and those who can help themselves are expected to do so.
Senator Thompson, you seem to be one of the few that is willing to talk give specific steps to maintain long-term solvency of Social Security. Describe some of those specific steps.
Yeah. Well, you've hit on a major problem that we've got to come to terms with. We're looking at the short-term economic situation now, and I think it's very good news. But if you go out a little bit, you'll see that we're not going to have Social Security and Medicare as we know it into the future. Our children and our grandchildren certainly are not. We are eating our seed corn. We are spending their money. We're pitting one generation against the next. We're better than that. We've got to do some things better than that, even though the choices are difficult. Number one, we've got to make sure we have a growing economy. That means low taxes. That means less regulation. That means sound fiscal policies. That means less spending on the discretionary side. Our bridges and our infrastructure and things of that nature, our national parks have got to be taken care of. But mainly, we have to let people provide for some of their own savings for their retirement while they're still working. And then lastly, one of the other things that could be done would be to index benefits to inflation. Index benefits to inflation for future retirees. It would not affect current or near retirement people. But for future retirees, instead of having nothing, which is what they're headed for, under the current situation that's unsustainable, they would have protection. But it would be indexed to inflation instead of wages as it is today. And it would solve the problem for several years. It wouldn't solve it indefinitely, but it would give us a window of opportunity to get our arms around the problem. It would be a major step in the right direction. Now, I believe in the right of workers to band together for their own purposes, no question about that. I do not believe a person ought to have to be a member of the union to work. I do not believe that union bosses ought to use union dues for political purposes that their members don't necessarily agree with. And I do not agree with them denying union members the secret ballot. But other than that, I think that they've done a lot of good over the years for this country and will continue to do so.
Mayor? Should the government step in and help Chrysler and the other automakers?
No.
Why?
Well, I think the government has to have a good reason to step in. I think it has to be something that drastically affects our economy. It might a little bit later on. You'd have to cross that bridge when you came to it. It's something that affects our economy or our national security. But I don't think the government ought to step in and have people know that the government will step in if they walk out and create that kind of situation.
Even if they say that they are at a disadvantage to foreign automakers?
Well, of course they are. But that has nothing to do with the government stepping in. The government ought to relieve that disadvantage that we've got as far as foreign automakers are concerned, make them open up their markets and make certain markets quit devaluing their currency. That's where the pressure needs to be applied.
Took a long time. He said no, we should have stopped there. Anyway, Mr. Mayor, let me ask you about
that's your opinion, Christopher.
Okay.
Dangers of a weak dollar is that it will damage us internationally. We've got to have a strong dollar because of the creditors that we have there. It helps our exports to a certain extent now, and we're enjoying that part of it. But any president of the United States has to stand behind a strong dollar. The whole world needs to know that we are good for our obligations.
And this is a lot like Law and Order, Senator.
Okay, thank you.
It has a huge cast. The series seems to go on forever, and Fred Thompson shows up at the end.
And to think, I thought I was going to be the best actor on the stage.
Okay, let me ask you, Senator, this is the first presidential debate up near the border. We're only a few minutes from the Canadian border. We're surrounded, in fact, very close to our strongest trading partner. We buy more from Canada than we do from China. We sell them about 4 times as much as we buy from them. They're incredibly friendly with us, although they don't share our foreign policy. Tell me about the Prime Minister of Canada. How would you get along with? Who is the Prime Minister of Canada?
Harper.
Okay, tell me about him.
Mr. Harper.
What's your relationship going to be? You always ignore that relationship.
But our relationship is fine. Yeah.
Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. I mean, my point is, our friends don't get much attention. Do you have any thoughts?
No, well, our friends ought to get plenty of attention. I mean, the challenges that we're going to face internationally, especially in the future, are going to require our working better with our allies and realizing, for example, that in the global war on terror, this is a fight by the forces of civilization against the bad guys. And everybody's got a stake in it, whether they realize it or not. So certainly we ought to work with Canada economically. We get more oil from them, I guess, than anybody. And they have more potential oil to sell than an awful lot of people. So they're important economically, and all of our allies are important for our national security.
Senator Thompson. Senator Thompson, this was your first debate. How did it feel?
Just like home. I didn't say which kind of home.
Do you regret waiting so long?
No, I don't think I waited too long. It seems about right to me. I've enjoyed watching these fellas. I got to admit, it was getting a little boring without me, but I'm glad to be here now.
Our thanks to the audience today. Our thanks to the candidates. Gentlemen, thank you very much.